Good day, Internet.
Good day, Internet.
Oh, good day, Internet.
Good day, Internet.
Good day, Internet.
Good day, Internet.
Oh my gosh, we're 6 for 6. We're
Nailed
having
it.
a good day. Yeah, nailed it. How's everybody doing out there? We are about to have a very, very fun episode of DTNS Live with the majority of our crew in Las Vegas for CES. Roger and Joe and I holding down the fort over on the other side. But without further ado, let's get going. This is DTNS Live for Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. From Studio Animal House, I'm Sarah Lane.
In the Las Vegas Convention Center, I'm Tom Merritt.
Sitting right next to Tom, I'm Robb Dunewood.
And also in Las Vegas, sitting next to Tom Merritt, I'm Allison Sheridan.
And to the right of Allison, I am Bodie Grimm.
And I'm the show's producer, Roger.
If you're taking notes, you can probably figure out on a map where everyone is sitting.
Daily Tech News Show Live is made possible by you listening right now. Big thanks to all our new patrons out there, and also our old patrons like Chris Zaragoza, Jim Hart, and Logan Larson.
Welcome to DTNS Live. This is a new thing we're doing, the show where we spend a little more time discussing the news along with you, our beloved patrons and audience members, especially our live audience members. If you're looking for a Daily Tech News Show and the one that's focused on the stuff that you know and love, we've got you covered. Check out your DTNS feeds and also Patreon for more.
That confused one guy yesterday, so I'll just make it more clear. It's the Daily Tech News Show briefings from CES that I put out in the mornings. Today's was me giving you the rundown of the news of the day, and we had a woman from Anchor talking about all their charger products and their solar-powered umbrella and their solar-powered freezer, and Justin Robert Young joined me to talk about Meta's new policy that we're going to mention here in a second, but that's just a separate episode. So there you go.
Yeah, so we are all CES all the time, all week. But first, let's peruse some latest non-CES news.
Meta announced it's phasing out third-party fact-checking in the U.S., replacing it with community-driven notes instead. That's similar to how X currently handles community notes. The move comes with a focus on cracking down on illegal content and also moving the trust and safety teams out of California to multiple states, but the one they named was Texas.
Getty Images and Shutterstock announced they're merging under the symbol GETY for Getty, with Getty effectively absorbing Shutterstock overall. Craig Peters, Getty CEO, is slated to lead the combined company.
Samsung announced its Galaxy Unpacked event will take place on January 22nd in San Jose, California. The Galaxy S25 is expected to debut alongside potential announcements for the Galaxy Ring 2 and rumors of an Android XR headset.
TikTok is promoting Lemon8. It's been around for a while, a similar platform and a potential alternative in case of a U.S. ban on TikTok itself. The app allows TikTok users to transfer their followers and use the same login.
Little CES news here. Dell announced it's rebranding and consolidating its product lines. No more Inspiron, no more Latitude. Goodbye.
XPS?
Goodbye, XPS.
Oh.
It's just
no XPS.
no
I
more
loved you
XPS.
so much.
I know. It's the beloved one. Just Dell, Dell Pro, and Dell Pro Max.
Now that sounds familiar to me, but I don't. Yeah.
And folks, we have a rollable. The Lenovo ThinkBook Plus Gen 6 rollable is a Copilot Plus PC that can expand from a 14-inch display to a 16.7-inch display with a button press or a hand gesture. It's $34.99 coming in the spring.
$34.99?
$3,400.99.
Oh.
And also the first non-Valve Steam handsets gaming PC, the Lenovo Legion Go S, is officially upcoming for $499 in May.
All right, Allison Sheridan, I know that you are a CES. I mean, you've been doing it for a long time. You love to talk to folks on the floor and find some of the cool stuff that a lot of other people might not see. So where are you on Tuesday, January 7th at CES this year?
Well, I like to bring some of the weird and wonderful stuff that's maybe off the beaten path that maybe 3 people in the audience would be interested in. My favorite of that is called Life Hive. And the problem these people are trying to solve is that there's a parasite that kills bees. And it turns out if you raise the temperature of the hive to 42 degrees C for about 3 hours on a schedule, and you have to do it every once in a while, it will actually kill the parasite. So these people build this substrate that then they can heat up. They've got solar panels. It's all, appified and all that. And they're hoping to be able to help kill off these parasites. And you can even use these if, like, your neighbors have the parasites, but you can still keep them killed at your place. So it's a pretty slick product. Plus, the guy did the whole interview wearing a bee suit, the beekeeper suit.
That helps.
Yeah, he didn't want to put the thing over his face, but I made him.
So it's really just a fancy timer. What?
I think so. Yeah, I was trying to get on that, but I couldn't get much past that. But I went to the website and there was all these testimonials of people who are beekeepers going, "Oh man, this is awesome! I have no parasites
Nothing
anymore."
from actual bees though, just beekeepers.
No, the bees didn't talk about it. I did learn that bees actually self-control the temperature of the hive.
Oh.
So I don't know, flap their wings a lot to get air in there or something like that. But I keep thinking, aren't they going to try to cool the hive back down? Because 42 degrees C is higher than they normally keep it. But I am no bee expert, so I don't know the answer to those questions.
That
Go
is
ahead.
cool, by the way. Yeah. So let's talk more about robot animals.
Yeah. So a gentleman started a company called Tombot. And the problem he was trying to solve was his mother got Alzheimer's and he had to take her dog away because it was a safety issue. And so he thought, what if we could make emotional support animals that are actually robots? And he went back to school, got a PhD from Stanford. I don't know why he had to do that to get this, but anyway, he started designing these robot dogs. And the idea is it's a dog that lays in your lap or lays next to you on the couch, and it reacts to your hand. So as you're stroking the ears, it'll do something different than stroking the back. And if you pick it up, it'll stop squirming so that it's easier to carry and not drop. And he worked with the Jim Henson's Creature Shop to design things like the way the ears move on this little golden retriever are just, it's perfect. I mean, it really looked like a dog. It felt a little bit weird, but it was really compelling to watch.
So no uncanny dog valley for you?
No, and that was something I asked about. I said, it doesn't seem to give this uncanny valley thing. And he said their studies have been done that uncanny valley is intra-species, not in, wait, I'm getting it backwards, whichever one.
Species is within the same species.
Right. So
yeah.
if a fake Tom, at the Wax Museum here in Las Vegas would creep me out. He's staring at me right now. But a fake Seven the dog might be just fine. That's what he was trying to explain to us. It was pretty interesting. They've gone through a lot of iterations. So he had the dog's name is Jenny, had an older version of Jenny there, and the older Jenny looked a little creepy. I'm not gonna lie, it didn't look quite right, but the newer one looked better. And it's still in alpha. They're not out to beta, but they've got 8,000 pre-orders already.
So it's an alpha dog.
Yeah, it's an alpha dog. Nice.
I mean, Robo Puppy wouldn't replace, my beloved Otis, but I don't hate the idea of a Robo Puppy.
Is also, this is what Larry asked for in the mailbag yesterday. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we had mentioned a little bit about this Tombot.
Yeah,
How could I
Tombot.
forget? But I'm glad you brought the details on it today.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Let me go mainstream for my final one. A lot of people on the show, I'm sure, have heard of iFixit.
Oh, yeah.
And so we went to the iFixit booth, and I basically just wanted to go over and go, "Oh, I love you guys. You guys are so awesome." But I ended up talking to the chief tool designer. I think his first name was Eric, and he talked a lot about the genesis of how the company started, and I thought it was really interesting because I brought up the fact that I was really happy. I had two MacBooks from two friends of mine. One had a good display, and one had a bad display, but the motherboard was shot. So I was able to take both of these apart, which is about 230,000 steps, get them both apart and put them one back together and have one good laptop when I was done. And he said that that's actually how the founder started. Was he had a broken hinge on a PowerBook. And he wrote to Apple and said, "I need to buy a new hinge." And they said, "We don't sell parts." So he bought a broken one on eBay, took it apart, got the hinge out of it, put it back into his MacBook, or his PowerBook, and then he sold the rest of it for parts and made 4 times his investment. And went, "Oh, there's something here." So that's actually how they started. They started buying old broken laptops and then taking them apart, and labeling them and selling them for parts. We talked about the different tools and the advances they've got in them, and they've got a little smaller pack than their original one that has every single tool. Doing a lot of surveys, they found out what are the tools just about everybody uses, and maybe you don't need like the static wrist strap, for example. And so they made a smaller one, so that's more affordable. My favorite part, though, was after we were done with the interview, we were off doing some stuff, and my videographer, Steve Sheridan, is sitting right here, and he noticed that the audio cable between the transmitter, or the receiver, and the camcorder was fraying, and it was starting to go. And we're like, well, that's an important cable. And he says, well, I got to go get a new one. And I said, no, I bet I know who can fix it. And he's like, no, there's no way you're going to be able to get tape around this because they have the shrink tube sleeving. And I go over there, and Eric goes, why, we have just the thing. And it turns out they have this silicone tape that you just wrap around it, and over a little amount of time, it just kind of melds into itself and becomes one solid piece of tape.
Yeah. So it's not electrical tape. It's not an adhesive.
No, but it becomes like an adhesive. Steve is actually going to do a live demo for us in the room. He's going to be able to show us the.
Well, we're going to be able to see it.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to be able to see it. But yeah, it just looks like blue electrical tape. Yeah, but it's just silicone tape.
Yeah,
It
so it's just
goes around it.
just keeping it safe. But it was just such a fun moment, and he loved that we came back for it and that they could be the guys. Oh, the other thing that they demoed was they have a USB-C soldering set. And so it's supposed to be able to make soldering
USB-C
much.
soldering set.
Yeah, so USB-C powered, and then it's got app control and things, and it's a lot easier. And maybe they're trying to make it where it's more approachable for people to learn how to do soldering.
Yeah, that's nice. So it can give you some tips while you're soldering?
I think so. Yeah, that would be
Thank
nice.
you, Bodie.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So Allison, as a veteran of CES, is there anything you're kind of feeling this year as far as sort of the tech pulse? I know AI is obviously dominating the conversation, but anything you feel is just kind of different than before?
Well, I was actually surprised that most of the people we talked to didn't bring up AI, or it would just be an in passing phrase. It wasn't like they were going, "Hey, we have AI." It seemed a little bit more natural. I did see more accessible tech there than I was expecting to see. A lot of medical tech, saw a lot of different solutions. There was a company that had a thing you stick to your chest. It's basically a home stethoscope, and it monitors your breathing. So if you have a chronic breathing problem, you've got asthma, for example, you could take a diagram basically that you can then send to your doctor, and they can actually listen and see the crackles in your
Or even
lungs.
maybe sleep apnea type thing?
They didn't talk about sleep apnea because it's just something you hold on your chest for a little while to listen
I
to
see.
it.
While you're awake.
But to go back and forth with your doctor and be able to get maybe a better diagnosis and not have to make an appointment every single time something feels a little weird.
Is it easy to move around? Because when you listen to lung sounds, you don't just listen in one spot. You want to listen to all of the lobes. So
Yeah, it's just like a puck. And you set it on your chest in the different spots on your back and on your chest and everything.
Oh.
So yeah, that was pretty interesting. So definitely more medical tech than I remember seeing.
Yeah, it seems to be a growing trend.
Yeah, now we haven't-
health tech and things like that.
We haven't
For
been on the
sure.
show floor yet. Everything I've talked about, we've been to the press events, the early press events.
Sure,
And
sure,
We
sure,
just
sure.
spent today
Yeah.
trying to find Tom's booth.
Every year. Haven't been to CES myself in some time, but every year it's like, where are we again?
It's an adventure.
Yeah.
Tom says same place last year.
somewhere, in some sort of booth. All right, so Bodie, let's talk about what you've seen at CES and what has stuck out to you at this point.
Okay, so we're going to start with Lightship RV, which is a very large tow-behind pop-up trailer. So it has a 78 kilowatt-hour battery with an electric motor on it. So what it's designed to do, I mean, this thing is super cool. It looks like a spaceship, but what the biggest benefit of the Lightship RV is it uses that electric motor to assist you when you're towing. So if you have an electric vehicle, your range goes right down into the toilet as soon as you start towing. So what this does is it gives you that little bit of extra boost to basically reclaim your miles, reclaim your range, and it's all kind of controlled. I was like, how does it know? Do you have an app? And he's like,
Don't
no.
want to get ahead.
Right. So there's sensors in the tow hitch, and depending on how much force is being applied, it gives you a little bit extra. And if you're going downgrade, it'll hold back a little bit, and it'll just kind of help control your descent. And this works with internal combustion engines. It works with EVs. So I know even if you have a big, F-250 and you're going upgrade, that it's going to be a slow climb
So it's a smart system within the RV itself.
within the RV
Yeah,
itself,
yeah.
and it's a pop-up. So when you're traveling, it goes down to like 7 feet or something like that, and then that reduces drag. Now,
okay.
when I asked what the drag coefficient is, it's basically 1. But he's like, it doesn't really matter because you have a big, truck in front of it, and that affects the drag coefficient. So
Would it fit a smoker? I ask on behalf of Chris Ashley.
Yes.
it would probably fit a smoker. I don't know that you would want. This is a $250,000 RV. I'm not sure you
fancy
want to put a
living.
smoker
okay.
inside of it. Maybe one of these smart smokers you see on the floor that are tiny.
Does it have regenerative braking too?
It does have regenerative braking, so when you're slowing down or going downgrade, it'll put and just to be clear, it'll put the energy back into the trailer's battery, not into your
Sure,
vehicle's battery.
sure. 70 kilowatt. That's big. That's significant.
Yeah, it's 26 feet long and it's 22 feet livable.
It's all fancy inside.
Yeah,
real
it's
pretty.
super fancy.
Now,
Super fancy.
now, can you use it? Like when you're parked, can you actually use it if it's
Oh,
got
yeah.
charged to charge your car back up? Or
That's a very good point, Rob. Yes, you can. You can't charge your car back up, but you can use it to operate while you're camping up to 7 days. Or I think it's a little over 7 days, depending on how you use it.
Which,
And-
for somebody who's like, what does that mean? You can charge your phone. You can charge,
He's going to run the
packs.
refrigerator.
We're
and stuff.
talking
And,
like-
yeah, you can keep things cold inside the RV type stuff.
in air conditioner, and it's got solar panels on top, so you're also recharging the battery while you're sitting there. So,
I would
that's
go
cool.
camping like this. That sounds like camping to me.
yeah, that's definitely camping to me for sure.
It's glamping. This is
Exactly.
glamping.
That's me
glamping with
roughing it.
wheels.
Glamping is another trend on our CES coverage. I don't know if it's on broader CES coverage, but it came up yesterday.
Yeah. Bodie, what else did you see at the show that has stood out to you so far?
Okay, one of the areas that I think is really cool that I honestly don't think is going to go anywhere is the EVTOL. The basically the Jetsons car, the drone that will take you up.
Vertical takeoff.
Yeah.
Personal
Personal
helicopter, vertical takeoff.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I,
think-
keep waiting for it. I keep waiting. I want that. I want to fly in the sky.
It might happen someday. I think it's going to be the domain of super rich people for now. But Pivotal showed off their Helix, so that right now they have the, Blackfly is what they're delivering now, and the Helix is coming soon. This is a single person EVTOL. You can be 6 feet 5 inches tall and still fly this thing. The
Okay.
cockpit is very tight. It is. I would feel very claustrophobic in that thing, but it's got a wing in the back with drone motors and then propellers, and then it's got a wing in the front with the same. And I can't see if Joe's showing off the video, but it is crazy. It is a crazy little device, for $250,000 also.
What do you have to fly it?
Nothing. It's Part 103, so it's considered an ultralight.
Ultralight,
So,
okay.
and here's the thing: is I said because I talked to the first owner of this, and I said, "Do you have a pilot's license?" He said, "No," and I said, "Okay, cool." Are you familiar with flying like ultralights before you got into this? And he'd been flying for a long time. And I was like, okay, the next question is like, how do you, when you're flying, how do you know how to fly? Basically there is a certain amount of knowledge you have to know for flying an aircraft.
100%. I wouldn't be comfortable just being like, all right, let me get into the air, see how
Well,
it goes.
this is what he told me. He goes, you're not the pilot. He goes, the software is the pilot. You just tell it, I want to go left, I want to go right, I want to
Okay.
turn, and all the software does that. So I don't know if that's a technicality or not. It seems like you're still the pilot because you're telling it where to go.
You're going to be responsible if something happens.
Right, but you're not really adjusting like attitude and things like that. You are going to go forward, and it's going to go forward at whatever it's programmed to go forward. It's
not-
going to stay within those standards.
You're not telling it
Well,
what kind
I
of speed
think
to come into the landing for or anything like that.
no.
It's going to
Actually, there's a button for takeoff and landing.
I think that's a conversation that we have a lot with autonomous cars on the roads right now. It's like, yeah, if anything goes wrong, the human should intervene. And not everybody has a driver's license, but many of us do, who are sitting in the back of a Waymo type thing. When it comes to flying in the sky, I feel like we all need to probably have like the equivalent of like the flying motorcycle license, where it's above and beyond just being on the highway.
Yeah, no, that's a really good comparison. The thing is if you get into trouble and it's just going to crash, or I was like, does it like a drone? If you're running out of battery, it just automatically comes home and lands. And I was like, does this do that? And he goes, no. He goes, after 20 minutes, it'll just fall out of the sky if you're not careful. It'll go down to -5 battery. And I was like, what happens then? He goes, there's a parachute. And I was like, okay, have we tested that? And he says no. And I was like, yeah, it's probably
cool.
Good idea. There, yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, totally fine. Just make sure you're wearing sensible shoes. You're fine.
Right. Yeah, and clean underwear. Clean underwear is important.
Yeah. Back in overnight.
Also a plus.
So you said 20-minute battery life?
20-minute battery life, 40 minutes charge. And the guy I was talking to, his name is Tom, he had he had a smile on his face ear to ear when he was talking about flying this thing. He said it is so much fun. I asked him, what kind of looks did you get up in the air if you were flying around and you happened to come across, another plane? Because this thing looks pretty weird. He said some interesting ones. He lives in a rural part of Washington. So, and the other thing I asked him is if this was one of those drones that they're flying over New Jersey. He said no.
He said no. Yeah.
So
although
I don't
he may have
believe him.
been mistaken for one, it is not that. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Well, good stuff from you, Bodie. By the way, if anyone is listening or watching us right now and has thoughts on flying cars or anything else that we talk about, one way to let us know is in our subreddit. Let us know what news items catch your eye. Submit stories and vote on them at reddit.com/r/dailytechnewsshow. All right, Rob, I know you're excited about this one. You've been pounding the pavement at CES for a couple days now, but what has caught your eye?
So I talked to the folks from France-based Lily for Life, who have a product for people with dyslexia. Now, Allison knows that I have dyslexia, so she walked me towards these folks' booth, pointed it out to me, and said, "Hey, make sure you go talk to these folks." And I'm so glad that I did, because one of the things that the way my dyslexia presents itself, I have two dominant eyes. And with the problem that causes is that when I'm reading, most people, when they read, they have a dominant eye that keeps track of where they are. Because I have two dominant eyes, they are battling each other for, I want to see this, I want to see that. So what ends up happening is that I read and I'll be on one line and skip to another line and not realize it. Skip back up, skip back down.
Oh, you're not going like left to right, left to right.
Right. So I'll go 3 words to the right, then I'll go down a space, 1 over to the left, and then up catty corner to the right. It's kind of crazy, but it's like I don't generally read in straight lines. So if I'm reading particularly like paper books, I actually will use an index card or use my finger to just make sure I'm tracking that I stay on the right line. And from I think the age of from 2nd grade until about 7th grade, I did all kind of therapy to learn how to read and to learn how to compensate. But what Lily for Life has created, they created 2 things. One of them is called the dyslexic lamp, and it literally is a light that flickers. And so if you're reading a paper book, you put this light over the thing that you're reading, and you have to tune it in. And essentially what this flicker will do is it will trick my brain into only allowing one of my eyes to be dominant. And when that happens, it doesn't make the dyslexia go away, but it makes the amount of skipping around that I do significantly decrease, and it was instantaneous. They also have an app for this. The app does the same thing. So instead of flickering light on top of a book, it's just flickering light in a screen. And that was even more just because I think it's a bigger screen, and there's the light's probably more dialed into in my eyes. It was instantaneous. Tom and Amos were standing there watching me, and I almost got emotional because it was like I literally could read new text without having to have all the mental strain of trying to make sure I stay on the same line. I remember, years ago, I was on, one of the shows where we were talking about books, and I was like, I never really read books for pleasure. It is like I read technical manuals, information. If there's information I want to get, I'll power through that. But for me, it has never been a thing where I would sit down and curl up with a book and relax and read. just because that is not relaxing. It is very straining. I literally have to concentrate hard to get through something without having to, without skipping around. And this product, like I said, it is truly amazing in what it does. It's not available here in the United States yet. They're trying to get licensed and to be able to sell it here.
To be clear, I think it's the screen that isn't available yet, right? The computer screen, but the lamp is available here.
The lamp is available now.
It's been out for a couple of years.
It's been out for a couple of years. The screen is not currently available. I think they said it's going to be out in the late spring, early summer.
And I think he said that it was hardware based, that it was able to do this flickering. So the screen costs about double what a screen of the equivalent size.
That's what I was
would
going
cost.
to say.
Right.
Like, could you change your refresh rate or something?
Yeah,
It sounds
yeah,
like
so
the answer
you-
is
you-
no.
Yeah.
Like on my monitor.
No, you couldn't make your
I
monitor
need their
do this.
monitor to be able to do the
Because it's actually
precise.
flickering.
Maybe.
Yeah, so it's definitely it's a hardware monitor, but like I said, the dyslexia does not go away. But for me, I literally, if I don't make myself stay on a line, I'll get 3 to 5 words in before I skip around.
Jeez.
And when I was
Slow
doing
it
this, I
down.
was literally able to get through an entire sentence. Like I said, it doesn't go away. There's still some. My
gotta
eyes
work.
still want to skip.
Yeah.
But it was. I mean, like I said, I got a little emotional because like, where was this when I was in the second grade?
Yeah.
Because when I was younger, it's like, well, everybody else can read. I can't read. So from kindergarten, first grade, second grade, I was memorizing the books. But once you get to about second grade, third grade,
They
it gets
catch on.
very difficult to try to remember this. So, I remember, my parents having the conversation with the schools and stuff like that, and they're saying, "Hey, something's going on. He's got a ridiculous memory, but he's not reading. He's memorizing the books from other kids reading, and teachers reading to me. I'm memorizing
I
it,
can
and that's
imagine at that
yeah.
point it's sort of like maybe your eyes, you just need glasses, kind of thing. Like there are probably a lot of solutions that parents and teachers try to go through before they realize what's really going on.
Right. And dyslexia was definitely around in the early 80s, late 70s when I was the age when they figured it out for me, but it was still pretty new. It's not like today. So there was a lot of, I'm not smart. I'm not bright because everybody else
Remedial
is doing
math
this thing.
kind of stuff.
And like I said, this does not, in the CEO of the company that we talked to, he said it does not take your dyslexia away. It just takes a bit of mental strain off of you when you're trying to read, because I'm not just reading. I am reading and concentrating significantly so to stay on line with what I'm reading. If I can't actually take my finger and track or put a note card up or something like that to track. So it's difficult. I don't relax when I read. I'm actually fairly stressed when I read.
One other thing the CEO said was that typical eyes receive the signals slightly out of phase.
Right.
So it gets to one eye before the other eye, but people with dyslexia, it comes at the exact same time.
Exactly.
And that's part of the problem, and that's why the flickering is affecting it, is because it's making it get out of phase, which it should, which makes it easier to read.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Now, there's some benefits to that. Like I'm sports ambidextrous because I have 2 dominant eyes. I can shoot left-handed, shoot right-handed about the same. I play. I'm a right-handed person, but I play golf left-handed. I'd rather shoot a basketball with my left hand, and it's just because both of my eyes are dominant, so I can shoot from either
Your whole brain
side.
is that way. Are you emotional and logical on both sides? Let's cut you open and find out.
I mean,
Well, yep.
if so, yes.
So
Let's
this
study Robb's brain.
Yeah, this device, like I said, the lamp is what really impressed me, which is available. I honestly want to see if I can't get one. Ship me one from France if I can get one, because I simply don't enjoy reading paperback books. Because it's so stressful to actually sit there and read it. I'd rather read it on the screen because I can change the font. I was showing Tom, right before the show, I actually make my text go across the entire length of the screen just so I have less lines to read. And then I space them out so that it's easier to just stay on one line where I'm not having to focus and do that. This lamp is giving me that ability without actually having to physically do it. So it is ridiculous technology that they have. And if anyone knows Bill Gates, the CEO of Lily for Life is trying to get a hold of Bill Gates. Bill Gates supposedly has dyslexia, so they want to get him this device. And, the company, it is a for-profit company. They want to make money, but they want to get it into, the hands of people with dyslexia to just basically try to ease and give people a better way to read early on, from a young age. Because like I said, for me, I was in, I had therapy from second grade until the summer right before seventh grade, where I learned all the tricks that allow me to actually read and get through content at this point.
I'll give Bill a call after we're done.
I have to assume, maybe not today, but there's going to be like a killer pair of AR glasses that help you, Rob, and people who have dyslexia or similar situations with reading that are going to be ubiquitous in the future.
Yeah, and there are tons of tools that aid with dyslexia. For example, I use several different types of screen readers that will just present one word at a time very, very fast. So my reading is significantly fast when I'm just looking at one word at a time because my eyes aren't all over the place trying to find other words. So there's quite a few tools that are out there, but this lamp for Lily Frost, the dyslexic lamp, it is truly amazing because, like I said, we just clamped it to a book, and I was able to track an entire page without jumping 15, 20 times. I may have jumped maybe 2 or 3. So it is pretty impressive.
I wonder if they
That is
could
dope.
build it into monitors cheaply enough for displays to just
That
take it up as a
too,
feature.
yeah.
right?
AR
Yeah.
glasses. That was where I went, but like,
Yeah.
monitors, smartphones, whatever. While we're talking about glasses, though, Tom, I know you've been tracking some of the new and cool stuff at CES.
Yeah, smart glasses are new at CES, but they're becoming common. They're becoming a normal thing. They're from more and more companies. A lot of the companies are trying to differentiate themselves by emphasizing a particular feature. So there was one that was emphasizing live translation. There was another one that was emphasizing captions, like so you could see what people were saying as captions in your display. It was a little too close up. I wouldn't use it as a prompter necessarily. But I found two that I think are kind of emblematic of the two main trends here. China's Rayno, Rayneo, brought their X3 Pro AR frames, full color AR display, 2,500 nits, nice and bright. Frames weigh less than 3 ounces. So if you actually ran into these before, they were quite a bit heavier in the past. They're pretty light now. They look like normal frames. They put the two cameras in the center of the frame instead of one camera on each end like Meta does. And they can do room and hand tracking, uses Qualcomm's AR1 Gen 1 chipset. They can do real-time translation. They have a virtual assistant using ChatGPT that you can talk to. The downside on these, they're wireless. They can do all this stuff and look like regular glasses, but they don't have much battery. Battery lasts 30 minutes, so you're not going to be wearing them for long. And they're expensive. The company says they hope to put them on sale later this year, and they would be around $1,500. On the other end, one of the OGs in this is X-Real. The X-Real 1 Pro is their new pair of glasses here at CES. Has the X1 spatial computing chip. So they can do spatial computing in the X-Real 1. The X-Real 1 Pro with the better chip delivers less blur, no flicker, 120 hertz refresh rate. The new chip does not rely on a connected device for the spatial computing, which the old one did. It can do all of it on the glasses themselves. Also has a 57-degree field of view, and it's a little bit lighter than the older one. You can pre-order the X-Real 1 Pro for $599. That's shipping in March. The X-Real 1, which was just announced a few months ago, is out of stock, but it's $499, and it will be back in stock soon. They're going to keep selling both versions of these. Now, the interesting thing about the X-Real is it's got a wire on it. So it is the version that is meant to be used as a monitor. But they're trying to say you can use it as a really good monitor. It can handle a lot of windows. It has a wider field of view. It's a 57-degree field of view in the Pro now. And it is able to plug into anything that can output a screen. I plugged it into my iPhone, and it was able to show my iPhone screen floating in front of me, and I could position that screen wherever I wanted. But they don't look like regular glasses. They're a little bit heavy. They've got a little bit of a hood on them, and they've got a wire hanging out of them, right? Because you're plugging them into something. They're not wireless, but they're a lot cheaper because of that. I tried out the X-Real glasses. I felt like it for sitting down, say, on an airplane, which is one of the use cases they use, they would be comfortable enough for a while, and I could be able to use them. Robb tried them out, too, with Spacetop, which is a software platform. If you've heard of Sightful was the ones that made the laptop without a display. They were just selling X-Real glasses with the laptop base, and you would just use the glasses as your monitor. Well, they got rid of that product. They couldn't sell enough of them, but they're still selling the software they developed for it. It's called SpaceTop, and you tried that out, right?
I tried it. It was really cool software because essentially I'm wearing the same glasses that Tom is talking about, and they corrected for my prescription. So they took my glasses, put them into a little machine so they could get my prescription, so they could change the lenses so I could see it clearly. And once you put them on, I'm looking at literally 24 screens. It's like 3 rows of 8 screens, and you look here, you see a screen. You look there, you see a screen, and it's cool. The software is pretty responsive. So if you want to zoom in on one screen, you just hit a button on the keyboard, and now you're just looking at a giant screen as compared to a bunch of little ones. And it's translucent, so you can see through the screen, and you can dial that in as well, so you can determine what you want to see. You can look at other things. I don't think you're going to be walking around wearing these things. It's more like if you're wearing them, somebody comes up and talks to you, instead of having to take them off, you can just hit a button, and they, what you're looking at goes away, and you can look at the person without having to take your
Windows
glasses
D
off.
of smart glasses.
Exactly. So it's pretty cool technology. I think it's going to be very specific use cases for someone who travels extensively. If you're on planes or trains a lot, and while you're on them, you're working and getting work done, and just your laptop monitor or your tablet monitor is not enough, this is going to come in, because what I did notice is that when you put the screens right in front of you, they are very clear. I mean, it looks like you're looking at a laptop monitor, and it's pretty impressive technology. Because of that wire, though, like I said, in the size of the glasses, they are a bit heavier. It's not like wearing a Vision or anything like that, Vision Pro, but they are noticeably heavy. So I would imagine you're probably not going to wear them for just hour upon hour upon hour. You're going to wear them while you're doing work, and then you take them off and put your regular glasses on if you wear them, and kind of go back and forth.
Although SpaceTop is using the old Air 2 Ultras, and apparently the new Pros are a little bit lighter. So.
They are. So they're not heavy, but they're heavier than the glasses that Tom and I are wearing and Allison are wearing. So you will notice it if you wear glasses, you'll notice that there's a difference. But it's pretty cool software. Like I said, it's like you essentially are just looking at multiple monitors. You can put dozens of them up there, and you just look up and left. You're looking at a monitor up to your left. You look down and right. You're looking at a monitor and your right. And one of the cool things was that there's a YouTube video that was playing in one of my screens. When I look at the screen, that actually brought the volume up, which is really cool. So it actually knows that I'm looking at YouTube. So it says, "Oh, let's bring that volume up on the YouTube screen," which I thought was kind of, "Oh, you know what I'm looking at? Let's give you the volume so you can hear the video."
Yeah, that is one of the cool things about the X-Real glasses, and I'm assuming that's why SpaceTop partnered with them, is they have really good tracking of room and hands. The Pros that I tried, you could do pinch gestures. So you could look at something and then pinch and grab an object and move it around in the space. You could do the resize, make something bigger and smaller. So the glasses are really good, which is why SpaceTop is partnering with X-Real to take advantage of that hardware and then just maximize it.
Can I break in with some dumb questions?
Yeah.
Is that allowable?
Please. There is no dumb question.
We'll see.
I'm looking at the show notes trying to figure out the pricing on this. It looked like you were talking about something $500 or $600. And then it talks about SpaceTop being something, a service that you rent on top of that.
So the glasses, if you buy the glasses from X-Real, it's $499 for the ones or $599 for the Pros. If you buy SpaceTop, you're buying the glasses and the software.
But a subscription, it says.
It is a subscription.
$1,000 a year.
No, it's $1,000, and you get a 2-year subscription.
Yeah.
Right.
$1,000 a day. No,
It says $950 for 1 year.
Well, my notes
$1,050
say
for 2 years.
$950 for 1 year.
Right. I rounded to $1,000.
That's buying the glasses and getting a year subscription.
Oh,
This is not meant for informing Allison. This is meant for reminding Robb what the price is. That's why it's vague in the notes. But it's $950 if I got this right?
Right. So when you buy
Annually.
you can't just get the software. You get the software and the glasses the first time, and then there's a software subscription that you continue to pay. So when you buy the glasses, you get 2 years, and then there is just a regular license fee that you pay yearly to keep the service after you've already purchased the glasses.
So it's $100 a year after that 2-year subscription.
Gotcha. Okay, that's smelling a lot better. But how come nobody's pointed out this is giving you spatial computing with pinch gestures, being able to see your computer screens, and it's roughly a third to a quarter of what an Apple Vision Pro costs?
Well, it's still
it has
pretty.
been pointed out now. Thank you. Yeah.
It's still pretty limited, though. I mean, it is basically just for multiple monitors. There's not a lot else you can
That's
do
what
with
You
it.
could do
People
some
really love
games.
about it,
You
though.
were playing a game in it.
Right. So
Sure, but that's still a monitor type experience.
It-
But that does give you the option of saying that's the experience I care about, because that is actually the thing that excited me about Apple Vision Pro. But then the other stuff didn't really pan out.
The
as
Apple
much as
Vision
you
Pro,
hoped.
I think
Yeah.
to your point, Bodie, Apple Vision Pro is trying to be the entire device,
Right.
whereas the X-Reel needs to be connected to something else.
It's got a very specific use case.
it is for people who need multiple monitors in a place where they cannot mount multiple monitors and they're doing work, because you have to have a laptop. In fact, you can't even close the laptop lid. The lid has to be open, so it is meant to be a monitor that you're connecting to your laptop or your desktop. I would imagine most people are using it as a laptop because they're taking it with them. So it's like that is the use case. We're going to allow you to wear a pair of glasses instead of having multiple monitors. You have a pair of glasses that have multiple monitors built into them.
And the Apple Vision Pro is strapping a MacBook Pro to your face, basically.
Right.
Well,
right?
but for the multiple monitors, what a lot of people are doing is connecting it to their laptop. So
Yeah.
they are doing what
then it's
the
even
extras
more
are-
expensive.
Exactly, exactly.
Because you have to have a laptop and the Apple Vision.
Right.
It is worth mentioning. It's also only Windows. There's no Mac support right now.
For the X-Reel?
For not for X-Reel, but for the other
For
company.
Spacetop.
Spacetop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Where X-Reel can do some stuff on its own, but it can't do the maximum multiple windows
Right.
that you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good point. All right, before we get out of here, I wanted to get Allison's take, and because it's a car tech story, I also want to get Bodie's take. BMW's SVP of Connected Company Technical Operations, Stephen Durock, said that its panoramic iDrive touchscreen, which it showed off today at CES, it's a what did I say it was? Hexagonal or rhomboid? It's a rhomboid, like it's got angles in it, touchscreen for your entire dash interface. Is coming to the new class BMWs by the end of the year. And Tim Stevens had the presence of mind while writing for Engadget to ask Durock about the rotary iDrive physical controller, the way you control an infotainment screen now. He says, it's not there on the new class. You say that this panoramic touchscreen that's along the top of the dash is coming to other cars. What about that physical controller? And Durock said, we take a look at all of our data and usage. You can really see that usage of our rotary controller is declining dramatically. People don't even touch it.
No.
Now that's not him saying it's going away, but it doesn't sound good.
But it sounds like if people aren't using it, I certainly wouldn't build the complexity in.
Yeah. And I know you're a fan of the physical controller, but it sounds like maybe you're rare. I don't know.
Well, yeah, one of the things I've figured out is, like a lot of things, all people aren't exactly the same, as it turns out. So the thing I really want a physical control of is the air vent. I want to be able to grab something and move the air vent, make it be, turn the speed of the air blowing me up and down, up and down. I want to change the temperature. I want that all to be a physical control. I was talking to a friend of mine, Stephen Getz, and he says, Allison, I set the temperature in my car the day I bought it, and I haven't touched it since. And he said, but what I really want is a physical control for the brightness of the display in front of me. For when I'm driving on a dark road, I need to be able to dim that. And I said, I didn't even know cars could do that, Stephen. I've never done that. And then I talked to somebody else, like, no, but what I really need. And so what we've all decided is that what we need is some haptic buttons that are programmable for the driver. So I could have my haptic buttons that I can actually feel it, and I'm going to be able to change the temperature. He's going to change the brightness of that display. So I think that's the problem with it, right?
Yeah. You could use that iFlick button we were talking about yesterday that's for the smart home, just put it in your car.
Oh, yeah.
Program it to do something for your car. Yeah.
There you go.
Bodie, you cover this space all the time. I'm just curious about your thoughts before we move along.
I mean, love what you love. There was a little bit of a time when I kind of waded into this with listeners and stuff, and people are so passionate about what they like and what they don't like. It's the great thing is like the Hyundai and Kia vehicles built on the GMP platform. They have a mixture of both. The Tesla's obviously mostly all touchscreen. You have a nice mix in the Ford products. And I don't think anybody's not going to buy a Mercedes because it doesn't have a dial or because it does have a dial. So it's kind of
Do you think the physical controller is going away, though?
If it does, it's going to drive my wife up the wall because she hates my car, my Tesla. She hates having to go to the screen every time she wants to do something like change the direction of the. I mean, you can't even change the direction of the way the vents are blowing without touching the touchscreen. So.
Oh well, sorry,
Agreed.
physical
We're all
control
different.
folks. Yeah.
We are all different. What we're not different about is the fact that we love getting email from you. In fact, we got one from Jamie in Canada who sent us this really nice one saying, "Longtime listener of DTNS. Beginning in the TNT days, I've always considered myself a techie person, but recently your show reminded me we can all learn a little something. You all went around the table a few episodes ago and asked how you're utilizing ChatGPT in your day-to-day, and made me think about how I can utilize it in my own workflow. Fast forward, I'm now going to be using ChatGPT to generate some Python scripts to help me sort and tag and convert and process MP3 files, build and query a database, automatically track downloads and duplicates, all with little to no coding experience. This is a huge step forward for me, and I have your show to thank for the inspiration to use ChatGPT in this way."
I love this. I love this email for multiple reasons. One is that it's somebody who didn't think there was a use for it until they heard other people giving examples.
I have to tell you, I'm
Yeah.
right there with him. I love that episode, learning how Brian Brushwood has it ask him questions. You give me one question at a
Sure,
time on this
yeah.
topic, and that was fascinating to me. I never thought of doing that. So I think the more stories we tell, the more people realize that maybe this is the way I would use it.
I also think, I mean, there are many of us who are like, I don't know, my brain's better. And that sometimes is actually the right call. You know, it's like, you don't have to have the AI do everything for you all day, every day. But there are certain times where it's like, it will just speed up my brain function for this specific task. And I think that's what Jamie's going for here.
Yeah. And you
Sounds
won't
like
know
it.
until you try, right?
Yeah, it sounds like where AI is going, and even being here at CES, like AI is everywhere, but people aren't just AI. We've got AI in our sheets. We've got AI in the soles of your shoes. It's not like that. It seems like it is. We've come to the point to where now people are realizing that AI is just a tool that you can use to do what you were already going to do, but just make that thing that you were already going to do a little easier.
Maybe
It's
get the tedium out of what you were doing. Is what I use it for. Yeah.
Instead of using a screwdriver, maybe you now have an electric screwdriver, and it's like it just makes what you were already going to do just a little bit easier. And I think that's what we're seeing a lot here at CES.
I have a quick question on when people are using this for code and they have no idea how to code, how are they debugging things? Like,
There's actually AIs to debug for you.
Put it through the AI debugger. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but there's you got to run up against a wall somewhere, right?
Yeah, no, it's a good question for the developers in the audience, feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. But as I understand it, people who don't know how to code at all aren't really using this much. And the people who are using it in a traditional codeless way. So there was already a tradition of codeless apps where there would be systems that you would just tell it what to do and it creates solid code. And I think what they're doing is they're using ChatGPT in that way. Sometimes it's agentic, so it's got guardrails on it. And other times they're running it to make sure it works. And maybe they're in some situations running it by a developer who just scans over the code and makes sure that it doesn't have any security vulnerabilities or anything like that.
I did an article or did a discussion on an article I read where they studied the reduction in hits to Stack Overflow as a function of when ChatGPT came alive. And Stack Overflow was already declining at a significant rate, but it fell off a cliff after ChatGPT was trained on Stack Overflow. So what we used to do in ye olden days is I want to write something. I was like, oh, how do I write a routine to do blah, blah, blah. I would go over to Stack Overflow, find somebody who told me how to do it, copy and paste it over to my code. Now I'm skipping the go to Stack Overflow part. And so we did that before. You're never supposed to go copy somebody's code off the internet and paste it. But that's, of course, what most of us do. Or you can't remember the syntax kind of thing.
Right.
So this can figure a lot of that out for you, get it done. But what I was thinking was, why not say, now create a test suite for me to test whether my parameters are doing what they're supposed to do. And then you can start studying the test suite and work that in, and it's going to be able to find the bugs for you. It's my theory. I haven't tried it
The
yet.
other answer that you kind of touched on is they just have bugs.
Bugs and vulnerabilities.
Yeah,
Turns
sometimes.
out human code does too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
I just imagine there's way more.
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know that there is, and it'll be interesting to see if that changes as more and more of this rolls out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like there's plenty of bugs to go around for sure. Well, we're not done here at CES, Sarah. Sorry.
No.
Show starts.
We're not coming back.
As much as the few of you who are there who might be feeling a little, I don't know, tired, buck up, kids, because we got a whole week ahead of you. But yes, thank you to everybody who has been watching along, listening along with us. And as for the folks on the panel, Allison, Sheridan, thank you to you. You are kind of the CES queen. I'm not going to lie. You kind of are. So let folks know where they can keep up with everything that you've learned and are sharing with the greater good.
Well, one of the reasons I can be successful at CES is I am just the on-air talent holding the microphone. Behind the scenes is Steve Sheridan, is my videographer, and he takes all of the videos and then produces audio content for my audio podcast and puts out all the the videos onto YouTube, which are then, we also embed them over at podfeet.com. So after we get back from the show, we'll start putting these out. We do them slowly because we're not breaking news kind of people. It's just, here's an interesting product. So you might see 2 or 3 a week. For months, you'll be getting content this way. So if you go to podfeet.com and click on the video button, you can get to all of Steve's videos and see what we've been doing. But he does all of the work from now on. I'm just like in vacation mode for the next 3 or 4 months.
I'm always impressed with how you all work and how many interviews you get and how good they are when I hear them on the show. And I suggested to Robb, I was like, when we got to Unveiled on Sunday, I was like, just follow Alice and Steve around, and watch how they do it. And what was your conclusion, Steve?
So we decided that we want to basically take Steve's essence and put it into an AI, and then put that AI into one of the many robots that we are watching and looking at troll around the place here at CES. And as long as that thing can carry a camera,
It's got to be able to use Final Cut and everything to create the videos at the end.
How do you debug the Steve robot though?
you use ChatGPT.
Okay.
I've been asking myself that for years.
But yeah, it's watching you two do a couple interviews. I've learned a lot. Allison has a really cool trick because people have a tendency to want to back up when you jam a microphone into their face. So you put a backpack behind them so that they cannot back up, and you got them trapped.
Because I've had to chase people around. I
Yeah.
actually got that from Chuck Joyner of Mac Voices, by the way. He was my spirit guide in learning how to do this.
So.
Well, Bodie Grimm, such a pleasure to have you as well. I know you've been taking notes on the floor as well. Let folks know where they can see what you come away with from CES 2025.
So I finally have a website that you can go to. It's 918digital.com. Thank you, Allison. I was
For
sick over the
nagging
last
him.
for like 4 years. I was sick over the last couple of weeks, so I laid in bed in my sick bed and made a website. You can go onto that website and you can see all the stuff I'm doing with Kilowatt, which I have lots of interviews with in terms of like electric vehicles, renewable energy, and autonomous driving. It's mostly a news site, but it's going to have a lot of CES content coming up. And then Robb and I have a big podcast called Beyond the Post, where we talk to creators, and that's also on that website as well. The website's not done yet, but it's got all that information on there. So if you're interested in what we're doing, 918digital.com.
And you have a music podcast on there, too.
Oh, yeah, I have a music podcast that I do with my buddy Chris when we're drinking.
How cool!
So-
What is it called?
What kind of
singing?
like genre of music?
It's Shuffle Playlist. So we just talk. It's called Shuffle Playlist, and the whole point of it is to do music recommendations. So, and it's my most successful podcast that makes $0 because we talk about music and nobody wants to advertise on it. But it dwarfs anything else I've ever done in terms of downloads. But it's a fun little thing. We release an episode here and there. It's not anything serious.
Labor of love.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. A lot.
Oh, it's okay. It can be serious or not. Well, we're so glad to have you on the show with us today.
Thank you.
All right. We always stream live for this show here, and people submit titles. If you're ever watching live, you can submit a title. You can vote on the titles from other folks. Showbot.tv/DTNS.
I sure hope somebody put AI in the soles of your shoes up there.
No one has yet.
Somebody put that in now.
That's going to go in right away.
In about 20
I'm
seconds,
sure.
it'll be there, I'm certain.
Yeah. They're an ex-real looker. and also go to Dell. Solder and get tips from GPEG84. Dude, you're getting a hive from Howard Yermish. Control temps and B, the alpha dog, BEE, from Saray TW. Sarah, what did we end up going with?
We ended up going with attach this title and silicone tape.
Oh,
cool.
nice.
That was from Sari.
Hey,
That
Saray
was from
TW.
Sari. Yeah, who is a frequent giver of title suggestions. So, if you want to join Sarai TW in the title suggestion fund bank, please do so. It is a good time.
Also, we have folks watching us on LinkedIn, folks watching us on YouTube. Thank you for doing that. Whenever we get super chats or things, we call them out. We've got a bunch of Twitch subscribers as well. So thank you to everybody who subscribes to us and follows us on Twitch. JROM20 resubscribed for the 63rd month. W. Scottis1, our moderator, has been here 61 months. For 61,000 steps we have taken on the CES floor. 1 month for every 1,000 steps. Thank you, Willie Scott. Chaz Basden resubscribed with Prime for the 53rd month. Technomensch cheered us with some bits, so he did Zoe and PC Milesy. Notomaton followed us. Evil Rage 32 followed us as well. Thanks to everybody for following us on Twitch.
Indeed. Just a reminder, if you haven't become a patron or a listener of Apple Vision Show, Eileen and I do that every week. We took a holiday week off, as many did, but we are back. Apple Vision Show is our show. It's the show where we talk about Apple's vision, if it matches what we want, what the people want. We do the good, the bad, and the ugly. Get subscribed now at applevisionshow.com.
All right. We only have a minute left before we're out of here. So what's left? What's left at CES, Allison? What are you looking forward to?
Before they kick you out.
Well, tonight we're going to be
physically?
going to Showstoppers, which is where we'll get another 15 or so interviews. So we'll probably be up to 45 interviews by the time we're done with the show.
Man, you guys are monsters.
You guys
That's
are
amazing.
machines.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, you really are.
I'm looking forward to going to see Scout Motors. If you know anything about old classic trucks and SUVs, Scout is a really, really good brand, beloved brand, I should say.
Oh, yeah.
And they came out with an electric SUV and electric. It looks like a lot like a Rivian, but an electric SUV and electric truck.
Oh, cool.
I'm taking the answer sleep. Rob, what do you got?
Yeah, nap is
Nap.
the old man has kicked in. So yeah, I'm
Nap.
actually still on East Coast time. I have not converted yet. So I was up at 4 o'clock this morning.
Oh, jeez.
Man. Just another reminder, too, that we are doing 2 episodes a day right now. So if you're only listening to this one, there is one that's in the feed called The Briefing. And that's got that big rundown that we used to do. We used to try to do all of it together in 1 hour, and it's kind of crazy. So that's got, all the big announcements. What did NVIDIA do? What did AMD do? So check that out. That is a separate episode that is also available in your DTNS feeds. Go check it out.
Indeed.
Well, Sarah, we'll do this again
Yes.
tomorrow then?
Yeah, I hope so.
If your house doesn't
if
blow
the
over.
wind doesn't blow me away,
Yeah,
Dorothy
you've
Gale
got
style.
those crazy Santa Ana winds back in LA that I'm thankfully not there for, but my dog and my wife are, so I want those to calm right down.
There are we've got some serious stuff going on here
They're predicting
in LA
100
right now.
miles an hour.
Yeah, 100-mile-an-hour
It's
winds.
supposed to get
there's
worse, and there's
a
already like a raging fire in the
evacuation
Palisades right now.
Yeah, which is a little too close to
Yeah.
home.
A little too close to home. I mean, not really close to my home, but very close to a friend's home. So everybody stay safe out there, please.
Yep.
Please,
And
please.
I know there's a storm hitting the south again. Big ice storm, snowstorm coming as well. So it's a great week for CES.
I mean,
sunny and warm here.
what a better place to be than Vegas?
Yeah.
You just have a nice hotel room, some food.
Yeah, it's a little chilly.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't think it's
Nah,
really chilly
it's
at all.
not.
It's always a little chilly.
Today is the coolest
May.
day. It's been in the 60s the first couple days we were here, so it's been kind of getting warm walking around with
California,
jackets and stuff
that's
like that.
freezing.
I know, right? They're all making
freezing.
fun of me for wearing my wool coat.
Yeah, we brought down jackets.
I mean, come on, guys. California gets to the, Southern California can be in the 40s at night.
Oh yeah, it was.
I mean,
4
who's
when I
walking
left.
around at that time? I don't know.
Did you
Not
hear
me.
Rob, Sarah? He said it was 4 when he left Ohio.
Well, okay. I'm going to shut up now.
I know, me too. We shall return from the Consumer Electronics Show tomorrow. Our guest will be Jason Howell and Robert Heron. Don't forget, you can watch this live. Tune in Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. You can find out more about that at dailytechnewsshow.com/live.
We'll see you
ya
again
from Vegas.
tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, folks.
Get some sleep.
Thanks.
Huzzah.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.